Hello, and welcome back to the Casual Fanatic. Today, we go into another episode of Three Key Men. Today's team, Fulham. Now, Fulham is one of my favorite teams to talk about because everyone loves to talk about the way that they're so far up in the league and how well they're doing and try and delve into such tactical, nuanced parts of their game and try to be like, Fulham is such a complicated, difficult team. That's a difficult away fixture. This is a difficult home fixture to have. You don't want to play against Fulham. But Fulham is a very basic team in the sense of you know exactly what they want to do. They're not going to divert from what they're doing. They're going to play long balls into Mitrovic. They're going to try and overload on the wings in Fulham in terms of Anthony Robinson, Willian, Decker-Dover-Reid and Tete on the other side. And they're trying to get balls in the box. Exploit Mitrovic for the option that he is. And going into that, today's episode, I have two most important players. And I don't have a most promising player because Fulham basically have no one under the age of 25. And realistically, I don't know why they would right now, right? In terms of at least this season. My recommended signing is under 25, but he's still not a complete youngster, right? Because they want to maximize what they have right now while still having an idea of breeding in the next generation and bring them into the team. But my most important two players, and I won't be having a most promising player, I couldn't decide between them, and I couldn't just pick one of them, and I couldn't make this video without mentioning the other. That's Alexander Mitrovic and João Palhinha. Those two are Fulham's most important players, and it's not even close. Shout out to Bernd Leno. He's done a good job, and he's been a great selection as a goalkeeper. He doesn't want to play it short. He wants to play it long. He plays it to Mitrovic, and Mitrovic excels at what he excels at, which is Mitrovic has the aerial duel percentage of a god. This man wins aerial duels like it's nobody's business. That's what he's in there for. That's what he's there to do, to disturb defenders, to put an elbow in, to hold off the ball, and to get other guys involved. And then once they can get the ball in, they can start to shift it out to the channels, and then they can play the balls in where he's running back post and he's trying to win the header. That's Mitrovic's game. Winning knockdowns, then trying to win penalties, and scoring the penalties. Well, even though his penalty conversion rate is like 50%. Well, it should be 4 out of 6 because he did mess up one, but it might have been saved. I don't know. Disputable. Anyway, Mitrovic is a very interesting striker to talk about because people like to think of him as a very interesting striker and that there's a lot to delve into and to regard him as an option. It's very simple. Do you want a target man? Do you want, when you think of a target man, think of Mitrovic. Big, tall, strong guy. You're throwing him in there. He's going to be hitting defenders and he's going to be winning the knockdowns. The rest is on you. He has horrible pass completion. He has horrible ball control. He doesn't have the small little intricate touches and can't link up play like that. It's very simple what he does, and Fulham play to those strengths. Part of the reason why they're able to play to the strengths and why they're able to get a lot of those seems like transition isolation balls into him is because they're completely willing and happy to play long immediately, and they win back the ball so well, and that's due to João Palhinha. João Palhinha, first of all, don't delve into too much of his game. This guy brought in to do one thing, and that's to disrupt the play and to win that ball back. And very few players do it better than this guy. Actually, almost no one does it better than this guy. In terms of his tackle win rates, he's winning 4.73 tackles per game. That's in the 99th percentile. Tackles won, 2.7. That's in the 99th percentile. Tackles the defensive third, mid third, and attacking third are 97, 99, and 99 percentiles, respectively. Dribblers tackled, 99 percentile. Dribblers contested, 98 percentile. Tackles and interceptions, 99 percentile. But if you delve into basically anything else, he really doesn't rank very well compared to other midfielders in the top 5 leagues. He does do well in terms of adding a goal threat, and that's because of the way Fulham play. Fulham want to play long, want to play balls into the box, want to play them into the danger areas. They win a lot of set pieces, and they try and get good delivery. That's something else I definitely think they should look into signing. Someone to take over from like Willian, who has provided a little bit of extra quality, a little bit of extra talent. Andres Pereira has re-emerged as we thought his career was basically dead in the water as his United fans and that he was heading back to Brazil. But he's come back and he's provided value and he's a real undroppable player now for a Fulham team. He keeps their captain on the bench. Yes, their captain isn't of Premier League standard, but he keeps their captain on the bench. And that's a testament to what he has delivered to Fulham this year, and that's that set-piece quality. And he's completely willing to, all the time, whip the balls in, and he has good back-post delivery. That's what he provides for them, and that's what they want to play to. Joao Palhinha jumped in with a goal or two. He does provide that kind of goal threat, but what he does is he allows the other two midfielders, in Perez Pereira and Reed, a lot of time to just bomb forward, occupy the channels, go give an option to De Cordova, go give an option to William, go give an option to the fullbacks, help them play out of pressure. Because most of the back four isn't that comfortable in possession. I would say Reem is a little bit ahead, but he is 35. And he's been a good captain for them, and he's doing well right now. But he is my recommended signing to replace him. Well, him and Diop, but slowly. And my recommended signing is Ahmed Hodzic. Anel Ahmed Hodzic, Bosnian centre-back, 23 years old, right now playing for Sheffield. He's been in and around a couple teams, started at Nottingham. He's been in the French league. He's obviously right now playing for Sheffield. He's moved in and around. But I think this is now, we're seeing it in the Championship this year. And Championship is a decent indicator for a centre-back, at least, that they can progress, especially when they distinguish themselves so high above their peers. And that's what Ahmed Hodzic is doing. So delving into his stats, this man is putting up absolute great percentile numbers compared to the top 5 leagues. Let alone, if you compare him to the Championship, he blows the league out of the water in terms, especially his attacking output, which is something that Fulham would love, because that's something that they would address. We know how we're going to play. We have our style. We're not going to adjust it right now because it takes too much to adjust. Their owners, thankfully, pretty rich owners, they have the money to be able to invest into the club and to go and get a signing if it's really going to help the team. And that's where I think someone like Ahmed Hodzic would fit in perfectly to them attacking-wise, because in terms of the percentiles, he's ranking in the high 90s, mid-90s for all of his attacking outputs. And in terms of defensive outputs, his tackling is great, his assist is great, he's able to create a lot of shot-creating actions, especially in terms of fouls and defensive actions leading to shots, especially compared to Championship players. His tackling numbers are great as well, which is what Fulham want, because even when you compare him to Big 5 leagues, his tackling numbers are great. And that's because that's what Fulham really need. They need guys that are going to win back the ball and they're going to be able to get the ball straight into transition so that they can optimize what they have, win those set pieces, get those balls in the box. And that can harm any team, because any team, like, for example, Man United, yes, Martinez has showed that he has more, let's say, aerial ability, and he isn't as much of a target as we would have thought he was going to be. But nevertheless, United would be in such trouble if you have 5-6-4 guys that are all strong in the air. It's a difficult game. And especially when you then can't get any success going the other way because they have so many tacklers and they disrupt the ball so often. And that's what Fulham have to play into. And I think they can definitely get into like a Conference League position, and they can go do well in that competition, as we saw with Leicester and we saw with West Ham last year, that they both got to the semis and finals and they did well. And it's a question now is like, do Fulham want to try to alter that system, try and play in a different style of football, more expansive? But that could get you in trouble. That could get you relegated so quickly. And now maybe the investment starts to seep out of the team, and it's not the ideal way. You have a formula that works right now. It's going to take a while if you're trying to compete with any of the bigger teams in the league. So instead, you play to your strengths and you become a difficult opponent to play against. And you make your fans happy. And Ahmed Hodzic, I think, would be a great signing for them. He would slowly be integrated, give him games over Issa Diop, because he does have the 6'4" frame. He's an intelligent player. He has the athleticism to run with the players. He's agile for a tall guy. He has great slide tackles, and that's why his tackle numbers are so boosted. He does lack a little bit of scanning awareness. That could be maybe because he's not as switched on, especially in a Championship setting, which is a worrying indicator, and it's something I'll definitely try and address before making any kind of definitive signing. But it's definitely something to look at, and he would probably come at a slightly cheaper price tag, which means you can kind of experiment a little bit with it. And with you still having Tim Ream and having the open there and giving him the chance, maybe that becomes the guy that comes in and replaces Tim Ream. And if anything, you'd add the more attacking output and be another threat to put in the box over Ream. And that would be something I definitely would consider if I'm Fulham. I think he has a lot of strengths to his game. There's a lot of things to like. There are a few things that you might want to address. He does receive a lot of progressive passes. He tries to play through the lines. He is a right-sided centre-back, so he would prefer the Diop side. But that's something maybe you could work on, because there's a lot of right-footed centre-backs that have played on the left side over the years, and they've transitioned into that kind of position. Overall, I think Fulham is a fun team. I think it's a team that definitely knows what they want. Something quickly to address, though, is Ahmedhodzic, as I'm looking at it again right now, is he does struggle in the aerial duel department. But thankfully, that's where Fulham does excel defensively as well, because there is Paulinho to win those balls. There'll be a Diop next to him, and that's what Fulham really need. And it's going forward that he also adds that element. Overall, I think Fulham have a lot to be happy about, a lot to be excited about. They've exceeded most people's expectations. I was thinking they're probably going to finish somewhere around the 13th, 14th mark. I'll probably make a video just discussing like my prediction from here on out to the end of the season. It's not going to have as much, let's say, there's not as much gambling in it. You kind of see where teams are going, and you can kind of analyze their performance and predict that for the rest of the season, especially now that we're at the halfway point. Still, if you'd be interested, please leave a comment, and I'll gladly I'll respond to all comments, and I'll make that video. Fulham, 3 key men: Mitrovic, Paulinho. Recommended signing, Ahmedhodzic. This has been another episode. I hope to see you guys in the next one.